Joining us now, author of the upcoming book, Silent No More, How I Became a Political Prisoner of Mueller's Witch Hunt, Jerome Corsi, is with us. You said, I'm not taking the plea deal. I know I could go to jail for the rest of my life. A lot of this revolves around the text message that was sent to you by Roger, who you just heard, that you didn't remember, and you amending your testimony numerous times because you didn't remember what you wrote or said 2 years ago.
That's correct. And what the special prosecutor is asking me to do is accept a fraudulent plea, which I am going to have my attorneys file criminal charges on with the Department of Justice. My experience made it clear to me that the political criminals are running the Department of Justice and Mueller's prosecution. I was ridiculed. My testimony was laughed at. They yawned at it. They misbehaved. And they accused me of being a liar and a fabricator, I think, which was an attack on me for the books I've written that have been so successful, 20 books since 2004.
Oh, I remember when you wrote Unfit to Get. Let me ask you this. You spent how many hours before Mueller and his team?
I was there for 40 hours approximately.
Let me ask you this. When they were offering you this plea deal, which they even said might just result in probation, maybe no jail time at all, when you were confronted with that opportunity, because you're right, you're 72 years old, if this could be a life sentence for you in jail. But when they were talking to you, were they telling you what, in your opinion, what they wanted to hear, and if you said it, you get off scot-free?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, my attorney said all they want you to say is that you're the source.
Give me an example of that. What were they telling you they wanted to hear?
Well, they wanted to hear that I had a source connected to Assange, or I did some way had a direct contact with Assange so they could do the connection, which would go Roger Stone, Jerry Corsi, Assange, and then they'd have their basis for collusion. It was complete nonsense, but they would not accept when I told them that, in fact, I never met Assange. I had no contact with Assange or intermediary.
You never had any contact with Julian Assange or WikiLeaks?
Absolutely none.
Never?
Never.
Stay right there. If you can stay, we're going to hold you over. Jerome Corsi. All right, we continue my interview now with Jerome Corsi, who decided to turn down a plea deal agreement with the special counsel's office. He says he's committed no crime. All right. You never spoke to Julian Assange. You never met him. You never spoke to anyone at WikiLeaks? Any surrogate?
That's correct. I never did.
Okay, let me go back then to August 2nd, 2016, and you said and wrote, word is a friend in embassy plans 2 more dumps, referring to Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, one shortly after I'm back, second in October, impact plan to be very damaging. So if you don't know him, how did you know that?
Well, because it was a matter of deduction. I had expert analysis and information how the Democrats put their computer system together. The release of information on July 22nd, 2016, that got Debbie Wasserman Schultz was taken from the DNC email server, but it only included officials who were not John Podesta. I said, John Podesta is missing here. And I knew whoever stole emails from that server had John Podesta's. And I said, if I had John Podesta's emails, I'd keep them until the end. I'd make him an October surprise.
So you deduced that they had to have them because of the same server.
Same server. It had to come out.
Let me go to the Wall Street Journal then. You said, what I constructed, what I testified to the grand jury was I believed I was creating a cover story for Roger, meaning Roger Stone, because Roger wanted to explain the tweet that I had earlier asked him about. And by the way, the special counsel knew this. They can tell virtually my keystrokes on that computer. Roger said that's not logical and said that you were being squeezed by Mueller's prosecutors when you said that. Can you shed some light on that?
Yeah, 2 points very quickly. First of all, they constantly pressed me about what Roger thought. And I told him it was a shame I didn't take the mind-reading course at Harvard, but I can't tell you what somebody else is thinking. And listening to Roger tonight sounds like that's Roger's explanation, and I'll accept that that's what Roger was thinking. In terms of what I thought I was doing.
Were you trying to stay, as you said, were you trying to create a cover story for Roger?
Let me answer that. In politics, as in public relations, and I was trained in public relations by Edward Bernays, the founder of it, you create narratives to benefit your client. British Petroleum going after oil reserves all over the world becomes BP, and suddenly it's beyond petroleum. Well, BP is no more beyond oil than Long John Silver was beyond Ludi. Is that a lie?
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this. You actually said the following. You said, in my heart, I went in to tell the truth, did my best to tell the truth, and I won't swear before God and a judge something I consider to be a lie. We're talking about 2-year-old emails, Mr. Corsi, 2 years old. And then you acknowledged the times that you had forgotten some of the emails. You could have possibly gotten no jail time, none at all. And now you might, as you even said, risk dying in jail. You're older. You're 72 years old. Look, we all worry at this point in our lives, right?
Yes.
Why?
Because...
and here's my bigger question. What did you know they were trying to get you to say?
What
did they want?
They wanted me to name a source with WikiLeaks that I had that told me Assange had Podesta's emails. And to answer your other question, the plea deal they were offered, I had to go before a federal judge and swear under God and to a federal judge that I knowingly and willfully submitted false information that I knew to be false to the federal authorities in order to mislead them. I didn't do that. I'd rather spend, if the United States has come to it, I'll spend the rest of my life in jail, but I will not swear under God to a lie. I won't do it.
But you do admit listen, I can't tell you who was on my show last week. So, if I'm in the same position, unless I reviewed all my emails and went back and looked at it ahead of time, I wouldn't remember. I don't know who was on the show last week. I can tell you Reagan's accomplishments from the 1980s, but I can't tell you who was on. Let me ask you this, because I think this is very, very important. And, if you didn't have any communications and you didn't know did you ever, because looking for op research isn't a crime, and we'll get to our attorneys next. If you conspired to steal, hack into somebody's personal emails or whatever, or had any doings with that, that would be a crime. Did you do any of those things?
Absolutely not. I deduced that Assange had Podesta's emails. I knew what they were going to be and how damaging they were going to be and how they were used. But I'm not a human tape recorder. You can't punch a button and have me recite word for word a conversation or an email I did 2 years ago. And that's what the prosecutors demanded. They ridiculed me. They yawned. They got up in the room. They abused me all kinds of ways psychologically. And they did that to coerce me, to make me from day one think that if I didn't tell them what they wanted to hear, I was going to go to prison for the rest of my life and die there.
And did they say that to you?
It made it very clear this was serious offenses and there could be multiple charges and there could be...
Let me ask you this. I remember when you wrote the book on John Kerry, and we had you on many times at the time. I'm reading what the media writes about you, that you didn't believe the moon landing was real, or that 9/11, I want to get it accurate, was an inside job. I don't know if you believe those things or not. Do you? Because I was surprised when I read it.
That's all fabrication. I don't believe. But you're getting to a very important point. Aaron Zelinsky, one of the prosecutors, ridiculed me. He said, you just take this fact, that fact, you make lies. Well, I know he's ridiculing my work on, Barack Obama, the birth certificate. He's ridiculing the SWIFT boats. I'm being persecuted and prosecuted because the left wants to get rid of me, and they want to ridicule these books. You're allowed to have controversial
opinions and views. I would disagree with you on both of those things, but this isn't what's at issue here. What's at issue here is, were you offered basically freedom if you told lies? And you're saying they wanted you to lie, they were pushing you to lie.
Yes, and if I had given them what they wanted, it would be all happy. And in fact, after the first grand jury testimony, they all shook my hand and congratulated me, and they blew it up in the second round because I did not have a source with WikiLeaks. They blew it up for that reason.
All right, Jerome Corsi, thank you for being with us. We wish you the best of luck.